How many times have you been hooked by a Bebop or got trapped under that inescapable beam with no way out? And the worst part, that's just the beginning. Because in Deadlock, it's not just one hero that can ruin your game, it's every one of them if you're not prepared. Most videos out there focus on countering heroes individually, breaking down matchups one by one, but that's not what we're doing here today. In this video, we're focusing on the items themselves, showing you how to build smarter by using items that counter multiple heroes and entire team comps at once. Instead of memorizing what beats a single matchup, you'll learn which items give you the most value against the majority of every team you face by understanding what they do. To keep things simple, we'll break it down into clear sections: passive items like reactive barrier, active items like knockdown, anti-heal items like healbane, and a few bonus ones. So get ready, as by the end of this video, you won't just be surviving each hero, you'll be countering them all at once. Now we're going to start by looking at passive items. These items are great as they're silent lifesavers that do the work for you. If you're often dying to chain CC or setups you can't react to, these can be the best choice. First up, we have Reactive Barrier, one of the most reliable defensive passives in the game. This automatically activates when you get hit by any form of crowd control, creating a barrier. As a result, it's insanely good against heroes that rely on locking you down before finishing the job. Think Bebop's Hook, Abraham's Shoulder Charge, or even Doorman's Cart combo. And with it only costing 1600 souls, it's a no-brainer to buy as early as the laning phase into teams with lots of CC. I mean, just look at the difference with and without reactive when getting hooked. The next item we're going to be looking at is Debuff Reducer. It does exactly what it sounds like, reduces the duration of stuns, slows, and even ultimates that apply CC effects. It's perfect into things like Abraham's Stun, Holiday Lasso, and even Mo's Ultimate. Basically, if you're tired of being stun locked or stuck in crowd control each fight, this will have insane value. Additionally, it builds into Debuff Remover, a fantastic active we'll cover in the next section. Then there's Spirit Shielding, one of the best early game pickups if you're dealing with lots of spirit heroes. With it only costing 1600 souls, it heavily increases your survivability and has great value into double spirit lanes. Next up are Spirit Resilience and Bullet Resilience, the stat-based passives that let you fine-tune your defense based on what the enemy team's running. Generally, just press tab during a game and see if the majority of the enemy team either has spirit or weapon damage, then buy accordingly. Just know it's not an early game item, look at buying it once you have the core items needed to deal damage. Now, Bullet Resilience is worse than Spirit as armor piercing rounds exist, a great counter to the item. Armor piercing rounds have a 50% chance to ignore your bullet resist, whereas there's no equivalent item for Spirit. So you could choose to spend less with Battle Vest, which also offers fire rate, good for heroes that build gun damage like Haze, or save up more for plated armor. It's double the price, but the difference is very noticeable since it can deflect bullets and on-hit effects. This makes it useful against heroes like Eternus who try to build up their burn. Also note that Bullet Resilience is good into melee heroes, as bullet resist translates to melee resist at a 1:1 ratio. Finally, we've got Spellbreaker, a powerhouse item providing insane spirit resist and debuff resist. It's so effective in fact, it can make heroes like Grey Talon useless and provide the protection you need against Vindictive snipes. Whenever you need spirit resist, this is the best option in the game with the price of 6400 souls. Now if you're enjoying the level of quality going into these videos, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. These guides take a ton of time to make sure you get the information that actually wins games, and subscribing lets me know that you guys are enjoying this type of content. I also stream Deadlock every day on Twitch and would love to see you guys there. It's now time to take a look at active items. Since passive items keep you alive, we need something to start turning fights in our favor. Before we continue, I quickly want to mention I'm including parry related items as actives, since they require you to press a button unlike those previously mentioned. And what better to start with than the king of all items, Counterspell. I'm not joking when I say almost every ability in the game becomes useless against someone who has mastered Counterspell. It essentially transforms your parry to protect you from the damage and effects of enemy abilities and items. Now, if I were to go through every example of what can be counterspelled, we might be here all day, but I'll go through some to give you an idea. The main thing is you need to time the parry just before an ability reaches you. If you'd like to see a full list of what can be counterspelled, join my Discord in the description. So without further ado, let's take a look at some examples. You can counterspell things like Bebop Hook, Lash Slam, Great Talon Ult, Holiday Lasso, Page Ult, Calico Bombs, and so on. As a result, this is one of the few items that can be bought every game on any hero. And if parrying with counterspell becomes second nature, you're on the way to Eternus. Trust me. Now, you can also counterspell Bebop's bomb and uppercut that follows. It'll put his bomb on cooldown but not place it, and you won't get uppercut. However, even if you counterspell the bomb, he still gains a stack. I've seen many players fall into this trap and not take damage, but then see that Bebop turn into an absolute powerhouse later in the game, so thought it might be worth mentioning. Speaking of parry related items, let's take a look at Rebuttal. For only 800 souls on a successful parry against an enemy hero, you heal, return the damage, and temporarily gain 30% bonus damage for 6 seconds. Whenever you land one parry, they're as good as dead. It's worth knowing you can also parry Puddle Punch from Viscous, returning the damage back to them. Next up, we've got Knockdown, an absolute menace against flying characters or anyone mid-animation. It essentially drops an anvil on someone's head, knocking them down and stunning them. Use it against heroes like Grey Talon, Ivy, Vindicta, or even Mina to force them out of the air and make them useless. It also prevents and cancels many ultimates such as Bebops, Moes, and so on. Basically anything that has a big animation. A little bonus tip for you guys, when you face an annoying Moe and Krill constantly burrowing around, hit them with knockdown and get that kill. Then there's Slowing Hex, an item that massively reduces enemy movement and silences their movement based abilities and items for over 3 seconds. Just like Counterspell, if I cover every use we'll be here all day, but let's go over a few. You can use it against Minas trying to escape with bats, Billy and Abrams from chasing you, Ivy from ulting, and so on. The point is, you're going to have impact with this item almost every game. Getting slowed is simply infuriating to deal with and makes you an easy pick. Whenever your goal of purchasing Slowing Hex is to escape, note Warpstone is another great option. You can quickly teleport in any direction and gain some bullet resist. Next up, let's look at Disarming Hex. It disarms your target for 4 seconds and reduces their bullet resist. Whenever the enemy team is mostly weapon builds with lots of gun damage, it can be a lifesaver that turns fights in your favour. Use it to help with escaping or killing enemies. Now for those annoying heroes which rely on abilities, Silence Wave is going to be fantastic. When using the item, a projectile gets launched forward, suppressing everyone in its path. I recommend buying it against heroes relying on abilities like Calico. And it's even more effective against heroes like Lady Geist and Yamato that often look to use their ultimate when reaching low health. It's honestly pretty funny when you suppress a low HP Geist when their entire plan was to swap health and they start scrambling around in panic. For a point and click option to silence heroes, Focus Lens is another fantastic option. It passively increases your fire rate by 16% and 30% of all damage dealt during their silence gets applied when the silence wears off. Next up, let's look at Unstoppable and Curse. Unstoppable is basically an automatic counterspell that lasts for 5.5 seconds, deflecting all CC, and Curse is the best item to buy against fed people. You silence, disarm, and prevent item usage when used on someone. But that's not all, it also interrupts. If a Dynamo is ulting a team, then you can cancel it. Now last but not least, let's look at the upgrade to Debuff Reducer. Debuff Remover purges all non-ultimate negative effects that apply to you, making it a priority to buy against teams with multiple debuffs. So all these annoying actives I've mentioned like Slowing Hex or Knockdown, just use Debuff Remover and it's irrelevant. You're welcome. Now with these items you're going to be surviving and locking heroes in place, until a fed Victor comes along, and even with these items he's unkillable. The issue is some heroes have so much lifesteal that countering them with appropriate items is almost required. Therefore when facing heroes such as Victor, Shiv, Billy, Yamato, Abrams, Calico, Kelvin, Mina and Lady Geist, these are the items to go for when dealing with them. And if these heroes take up most of the enemy team, then these items are a must buy. Let's start with Healsbane, a fantastic early game option good on all heroes. For only 1600 souls, your spirit damage applies a 35% healing reduction and heals you for 275 on kills. Whenever you're struggling into a lane where they seem to be healing constantly, buy this item when you can, it's game changing. Not only are you more likely to get kills, but you heal straight back up. Next up we got Toxic Bullets, an item that deals bleed damage and applies a 30% healing reduction. But you might be thinking, for 1600 more souls, why would you buy this over Healsbane, which has 5% more of a healing reduction? The thing is, the bleed actually causes enemies to lose a percentage of their max health over time. So similar to a great spirit item called Tank Buster that deals max health bonus damage, they're going to be great into beefy heroes like Moe and Krill. Moving on, we got Inhibitor, a big tier 4 item costing 6400 souls. It has the same healing reduction as Healsbane, but also reduces the target's outgoing damage by 35% alongside the passive buffs. So when an enemy hero is pumping damage whilst healing, this is a fantastic option. Speaking of tier 4 items, there are a few more great options such as Spirit Burn. For those heroes which primarily build spirit like Mina, this is going to have value every game. Not only does it deal significant spirit damage, it procs a burn that has a 70% healing reduction. That's right, double the Healbane healing reduction with the insane amount of damage it offers. And for weapon builds, Crippling Headshot will be the best option. This is usually my go-to when it comes down to shutting down a fed Victor. When you land a headshot, it reduces the target's bullet resist and spirit resist by 18% for 12 seconds. And you still apply a 30% reduction to healing. It's now time to cover a few bonus items worth mentioning. Decay is a point and click active that deals bleed damage based on the target's current health alongside a 40% healing reduction for 10 seconds. Enduring Speed is a cheap item that offers movement speed and a 30% slow resist, a nice item into heroes like Kelvin. Close Quarters is a cheap item that offers 20% melee resist and 20% weapon damage in close range, good into melee lanes. Capacitor can remove non-ultimate buffs, so things like Seven's Power Surge, Page Shields and Viscous Cubes can be zapped away. Divine Barrier is an upgraded debuff remover that can be used on teammates and even cleanse ultimates like Drifters or Pockets. Suppressor is a direct counter to weapon carries that rely on fire rate. By reducing fire rate by 30%, build it against enemy comps that include heroes such as Wraith, Haze and so on. Return Fire is a useful active as in the name has the chance of firing bullets back to the attacker, good into someone like Haze as well. This also upgrades into Metal Skin, an active making you immune to bullets for 5 seconds. Lastly, for support builds, Rescue Beam is useful for saving teammates from many things previously mentioned in this video. And that wraps it up. Hopefully by now you're not just memorizing what to build against each matchup, but you actually understand how these items work and what might give you the most value each game. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate if you could like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I also stream every day over on Twitch, the link's down in the description. And if you want to get notified every time I go live and upload, or just chat and chill with the community, make sure to join the Discord. The link's down there too. Also, before you go, I just want to say a huge thank you for the insane amount of support and positive comments on my first ever upload. I honestly didn't expect that kind of response at all, and it really means a lot. Thanks again for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one.